Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Mike. Today we're actually going to be looking at not a book, but a play. Plays can also be literature.
Yes.
And we're looking at a very famous play from the 20th century that is performed even to this day. I'm sure I would probably bet more than 50 different plays, 50 different groups are probably putting this play on from high school up to professional actors because it is, as Stephanie said, a real classic.
Yeah, it really is. What we usually do in our literature units is day one, we talk about the plot or the story of our piece of literature.
Okay.
Day two would be the background of our author, our writer. I always love that. That's my favorite part. I love to hear about people's life stories. And then third day, of course, we always talk about some of the themes, some of the messages in the book that our writer might have been trying to communicate. Our writer this time is someone who's pretty famous, Arthur Miller. You know, I didn't realize he had lived such a long life.
Yeah.
He actually didn't die too long ago.
Right, just recently.
Yeah, he's also got a daughter who's married to a very famous actor, but I'll keep that for later.
Okay.
We'll tell you who that is. Okay, right now, though, we're going to read through day one. Get ready.
The stage shows a New York City apartment in the late 1940s. Willie Loman, a traveling salesman, returns home early from a business trip. He and his wife Linda discuss their difficult financial situation. Willie has lost his salary and now only earns money from commissions. This doesn't stop the Lomans from boasting to others about their success, though. The Lomans' two adult sons, Biff and Happy, are also visiting. Throughout the play, Willie talks to characters from his memories. They're invisible to the characters in the play's present reality. He recalls his son's former admiration for him and the potential they'd shown. Biff had been a football star with college scholarships, but didn't finish high school. It's later revealed that Biff caught Willie having an affair. Willie didn't realize it at the time, but this discovery ruined Biff's opinion of him and his ambition to succeed. Linda tells her sons that Willie is depressed and has attempted suicide. Later, Willie decides to ask his boss for a local job so he can stop traveling. Meanwhile, Biff asks a former employer to lend him money to start a business. Sadly, Willie's meeting results in him getting fired, and Biff's old boss rejects his request for a loan. The father and sons meet at a restaurant, but the sons abandon Willie for two women they meet. Back home, Biff declares that he and his family are failures and they're merely deceiving themselves. Willie imagines talking with his brother Ben, who made a fortune mining diamonds in Africa. Ben reminds Willie that he has a $20,000 life insurance policy. Willie then kills himself by crashing his car so his family can inherit the money.
Okay, guys, let's dive into this, the loss of the American dream. We're going to talk about the American dream in a bit, so I might leave that for now. But that's a really important theme we'll be talking about with this particular play. So the stage, again, we're going to set the scene here, or set the stage, you could say that too. The stage shows a New York City apartment back in the late 1940s. Here's our main character, Willie Loman, and he's a traveling salesman. That was a big job back then, you know? We didn't have the internet, and we didn't have Walmarts and Costco and these big stores. And a lot of these salesmen would go on the road, and, you know, they'd go from door to door. I remember as a girl, someone knocking on my parents' door, and I think he was selling encyclopedias. And we bought our first set of encyclopedias from this salesman, and he was traveling around. He may have lived in the area, but he was still going from door to door. Well, this particular salesman, he returns home early from a business trip, and he's got a wife. Her name is Linda, and they discuss their difficult financial situation. when you're talking about someone's financial situation, you're talking about how much money they may earn at a job. A lot of women back then didn't work outside the home, so it would be primarily the guy who would go out and work. So how much money he brought in, how much money he earned through his job. And then it's not just the money you earn, it's the bills you have to pay, right? So you might have to pay your rent or your mortgage payment, which is a monthly sum you pay. You own your house. You've taken out a loan or borrowed the money. And every month you have to pay that money back to the bank, typically. So they're discussing their financial situation. That's not always a very fun thing to do, depending on what your financial situation is like.
Yeah, here we read that it's a difficult financial situation. So that means they don't have a lot of money in the bank. They're worried about having enough to just pay their bills and buy food and stuff like that. So times are not good. Times are tough. And it says Willie has lost his salary and now only earns money from commissions. Well, yeah, for salespeople, earning money from commissions is normal. Basically, the more you sell, the more money you make. But if you go out and don't sell anything, you might come home with $0 for all of your hard work.
That's hard.
If you get paid money to do work, get paid per hour or a certain amount every week or month, that would be a salary. But if you have a commission, usually your salary is a little bit lower. But the idea is here, if you sell a lot, you'll make even more money than you would with just a salary.
True.
But as I said, if you don't sell, you might not make hardly anything or even $0 because you're not making a commission. So they're having some money problems, but they're also doing that thing where they don't want to show other people that they're having money problems. They're kind of hiding it from their friends and neighbors and stuff. It's embarrassing. It makes them feel like they're ashamed, like they're failures or something like that. And it probably also means they're spending money to look normal, money that they don't really have. So it doesn't stop them from boasting, from being proud and talking in a proud way to other people. Oh, yeah, we got tons of money. Oh, we're thinking of buying 2 new cars. Yeah. And all of this is not true. And then something else that's added to all this is that they're having kind of a family reunion. They're 2 adult sons. They're grown sons. These guys are kind of in their 20s, maybe 30s. Biff and Happy, they're also back home visiting. So we got this family reunion. The father's kind of worried about money. So's mom. Things are difficult. And then stuff happens.
Okay, so in the second paragraph here, it says, throughout the play, Willie, that's the dad, talks to characters from his memories. Okay, you guys need to understand these aren't real people that are on the stage having a conversation with him. It's like he's going back in time in his own mind, and he's talking to people from his past. They're invisible to the characters in the play's present reality, meaning Linda, the wife, and Biff and Happy, they don't see these people. They're invisible. If someone's invisible, you can't see them. Remember in Harry Potter, he had that cloak?
Oh, yeah.
And if you put the cloak over him, it made him invisible. If you're invisible, you can't be seen by anybody else. Visible, of course, is the opposite. You can be seen. So what does Willie do? Well, he recalls his son's former admiration for him and the potential they'd shown. He's talking about the sons. He used to think, wow, they're going to go someplace in life. They're really great boys and they're working hard. They're going to accomplish a lot, achieve a lot. And he's remembering these things. Right now, though, guys, we're going to take a quick break, listen to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back to talk about how Willie starts talking to these characters from his past who are invisible to the others in the play.
Cool.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenny. 今天我们要看的是第16单元。好，这个单元是文学方面的主题。也许您没有听说过，也没有读过，但是呢，这是一篇经典的作品。它的名字就叫做《Death of a Salesman》，我们中文翻成推销员之死。好，我们呢今天就先来谈一谈，这个 故事里面它到底发生了什么，它的情节是怎么一回事。这个地方的时间的背景要先知道，它是在 late 1940s， 也就是1940年代晚期。好，地点在纽约，然后我们的主角叫做 Willie。Willie 这个主角呢，他其实是一个销售员，也就是一个推销员。那他的工作必须要常常到处跑，所以他是一个 traveling salesman。当然这边的开头就是说，他出差，然后回到家里，然后呢，他跟妻子就在讨论家里的经济状况 financial situation。那当然我们知道 Willie 这边他说了他没有薪水，当然意思就是他不是固定，现在没有固定的那一份薪水了，现在只能靠什么？靠佣金 commissions。 做了多少的案，那你就从这些案件里面抽取佣金，而没有一个基本的薪资。这样子的话怎么办呢？不过说实话，他提到了 This doesn't stop the Lomans from boasting。 那我们看到这边 this 这种指称词，我们要注意在英文里面，当你用 this that 这种指称词，它到底指什么？这个当然在语义上的承接非常的重要，而且也必须要想一想。当然这个 this 很明显说的就是前面的叙述，前面提到他没有薪水，他只能靠佣金度日。好，尽管说家里的经济状况出了问题，他也没办法让他们停止向人夸耀，所以这家人也真是的，他还是继续跟人家说他们自己有多成功。好，在故事这里我们继续往下读，下面就说到在这出戏里头 Willie 呢，他一直在跟他回忆里面的角色说话，所以看这出戏的剧本必须要注意，然后他整个时间的线可能就不是一个从前开始到后面这样子的顺序，而是他会跳着往前。所以到底是现实呢，还是现实的中的现在呢，还是在过去？要帮助自己看得懂，这点必须要注意。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. We're talking about the play Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, who is considered to be one of America's most prestigious playwrights, someone who wrote for the stage. When we left you, we were talking about the family and how they're going through some difficult financial situations currently. Willie's lost his salary, so he's only earning money from commissions. And, of course, if you're not really good at talking people into buying things, you probably shouldn't find a job where a lot of the money you earn is based on commissions. You have to have the right personality for this anyway. You have to be very very fun to talk to, charming.
Confident.
You cannot get depressed easily.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to always be very hopeful. Confident is so important, Mike.
Absolutely.
But he's not that way. We're going to find that out. And, of course, the family's a little bit embarrassed, so they're trying to hide the fact that they're having financial troubles from their neighbors. Right now, currently at their home, there are two boys who have already grown up and moved out of the house. They're back visiting their parents.
Yeah, and a lot of sort of things happen that do happen in families when the kids grow up. It says, as we keep reading Willie, the father, he recalls his son's former admiration for him and the potential they'd shown. So these young boys are not young boys anymore. They're young men, so they're not kids. Everyone's grown up. The kids have finished school, and Willie's kind of thinking, when they were young, I was their hero, as dads often are to their sons. They admired him a lot. The sons really looked up to or admired their dad, Willie. And also the kids had a lot of potential. When kids are young, parents can look look at them and dream, oh, one day he might be a doctor, or he could be a famous politician or a great athlete or something like that. Well, unfortunately, life is sometimes unfair, and it doesn't really work out that way. So sometimes thinking back on those dreams that didn't come true can be a sort of sad and painful thing.
Yeah.
And when we think back on things, when we remember things, we can also use this word to recall. Okay, basically it's like remembering something, using our memories, thinking back to a past time or a history that's gone, and, remembering things. You might recall your old classmates from school, or recall some of your first teachers when you were a young kid in first grade or something like that. Willie's recalling how his sons had admiration for him. Well, I used that verb to admire.
Yeah.
If you admire someone, you look up to them. You think they're pretty amazing, pretty awesome. You kind of maybe would like to be like them in the future in some kind of way. People admire their heroes, their parents, someone who they think has done a really good thing or had an amazing life. And, hopefully I'll be a little bit like that person. Well, that feeling of admiring someone is having admiration for them. And as I said, kids often have admiration for their parents, especially when the kids are young.
Oh, sure. Who doesn't? But I think all of us have had moments where your parents have disappointed you.
As you get older, yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, and sometimes you disappoint your parents,
You realize that your parents are human,
They're
just
not
like
perfect.
you.
No.
Yeah.
So Biff had been a football star with college scholarships.
That's the potential they were talking about.
That's right, but he didn't finish high school.
That was
If you don't graduate
missed potential.
from high school, you can't go to college,
Right.
guys.
So Willie might have thought, he could be a football star. He's going to go to university, college. He'll become a doctor, a lawyer. But
everyone will know he's my son.
he didn't even finish high school.
Nope. It's later revealed or shown that Biff caught Willie having an affair.
Shocking.
Ooh, that's not something you're going to look up to.
No.
If you see a parent not being loyal or faithful to the other parent, whoa, that's a tough one to get around.
Yeah, for the kids to discover that dad has a secret girlfriend that he's fooling around with
good.
and, lying to mom about it. For the kids to discover that and realize that their parents are not nice people in a big way, that's a big shock.
That's a tough one. Willie is unaware of it, but this discovery by Biff, seeing his dad with another lady, has ruined Biff's opinion of his dad and his ambition to succeed. It kind of destroys his own desires to become something really successful in life, which is so hard. To ruin something, guys, means that you destroy it. You can ruin things in different ways. I've ruined some clothes I've had by spilling things on to a dress or a shirt, and I can't wash it out. It's got a stain.
When you get soy sauce on your white shirt, you might ruin it.
It's terrible. I hate that. Or maybe you have a really good friend, but one day you're just not kind, and you end up ruining that friendship. You say something really mean or untrue, or
tell your friend lies,
gossip about that friend to someone else. You can ruin a friendship. So it can be a physical destruction of something, or it can be an emotional destruction of something. Yeah, so what happens is that whole discovery of seeing his dad with someone else ruins Biff's admiration, spoils his admiration for his dad. It also, kind of disappoints Biff to the point where he thinks, what's the use? I don't care. I'm not gonna be anything good.
Everything I thought was true is a lie. So it's tough. And Biff's had a difficult adulthood. Being a kid, he had all this potential, but being an adult has been a lot harder than he would have hoped. And then Linda, that's the mother, Willie's wife, the mother of the family. Linda tells her sons that Willie is depressed and has attempted suicide. Wow, he's very depressed. Suicide is when a person kills themselves. It's a terrible thing to do, but sometimes people do it, especially when they're not quite right in the head.
Right.
And one of the things that can make people feel like they want to commit suicide is if they're depressed. We would call this depression, would be the noun. If you're feeling super sad all the time, you might go to a doctor or talk to a friend and say, I'm suffering from depression. I am depressed. So that's the adjective form, depressed. And it's sad. sad, like really sad, like you can't get out of bed sad. And not just because something happened, like if your dog dies, of course, that you'd be sad for that, but you wouldn't be sad for months and months and months. You'd still be able to do, the things you normally do. If you're depressed, though, this is often a medical problem. There could be a chemical problem in your body, and your life is just not going well, and you just find it hard to get out of bed. You find it hard to be happy about anything. And as I said, if that situation doesn't get fixed, if you don't get some help for that, it can lead to very dark thoughts and even suicide. So later, Willie, he decides to try to fix his work situation. He decides to ask his boss for a local job so he can stop traveling. Remember, he's a traveling salesman. He spends most of his time in his car, away from his family, on the road, staying in hotels. He wants a job so he can be home, be near his family. He's tired of driving around and selling things all the time.
Meanwhile, or at the same time, Biff, the son, asks a former employer, a former boss, to lend him money to start his own business.
Seems they're both trying to, improve things, make things a little better here.
Now, if you lend someone money, guys, it means you give them money. And if you take the money from someone else, you're borrowing the money. It's a little more difficult in Chinese, guys, because it's the same word, 借. So be careful with that. They're not the same in English. Sadly, Willie's meeting results in him getting fired. So he goes in to ask for a local job, and his boss just says, well, forget you, I'm just firing you.
Oh my gosh.
And Biff's old boss rejects his request for a loan.
Oh.
A loan here is the money that someone would give you so that you could use it to do something. You have to pay it back, though. The father and sons meet at a restaurant. So we've got the two boys and their dad, but the sons abandoned or leave Willie because there are two women that come in to the restaurant and they're more interested in flirting with them. So back home, Biff declares that he and his family are failures. They're all failures, and they're merely deceiving themselves. If you deceive someone, guys, you make them deliberately believe that something is true when it's not. And here, if you deceive yourself, you kind of lie to yourself. Maybe you say, oh, yeah, I'm working hard. I'm going to do well on that test, but deep down, you haven't studied at all. Don't lie to yourself. So deceiving someone to give them the impression something's true and it's not, or yourself is even, I think, worse sometimes. Willie imagines, remember, he has those imaginary conversations, talking with his brother. His brother's name was Ben, who made a fortune or a lot of money mining diamonds in Africa. Now, Ben reminds his brother Willie that he has a $20,000 life insurance policy. So Willie has that himself. And unfortunately, Willie then decides, oh, there's some money I can leave for my family. But sadly enough, he has to die for them to get that money. So what he does is he kills himself by crashing his car so his family can inherit the money, which is so sad. His family would much rather have their dad and husband than money. But as Mike said, when people kill themselves, guys, when they commit suicide, they're not thinking straight. They're already in a situation mentally where they can't make wise or good choices. So that's the story. It's a little bit depressing.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about why this was written and what some of the messages Arthur Miller might have been trying to communicate. Right now, though, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
好，我们继续来看，Death of a Salesman， 推销员之死。这个作品，好，我们说到了主角是 Willie， 我们提到了他经济上的困难，提到他的家庭的状况。好，他有2个儿子，那么这边提到 Biff 这个儿子啊，他其实呢，他曾经是一个足球界非常有潜力的美式足球明星。所以说，照理来说应该是很有潜力，可是他并没有完成高中的学业。后来我们才知道啊，其实呢 Biff 就是他的儿子，他呢有一天就意外的发现他的爸爸 Willie 他其实出轨了， 有外遇。好，看到这边的句型上，他写 It's later revealed that blah blah blah。我们知道，IT 当虚主词，这个结构，如果你用虚主词，当然是因为主词太长了。像这个地方就是后面那个 that 子句，也就是说 that Bev caught Willie having an affair， 抓到了。撞见了他的父亲有外遇这件事，后来就被揭露了。再来，我们继续看，我们知道 Willie 他的太太叫 Linda， 那这时候 Linda 就跟儿子讲，其实爸爸是有忧郁症的，而且还想试图要自杀。后来呢 ，Willie 他想要跟他的上司说，给他一个当地的工作，然后不要再跑来跑去。而在同时，此时这个儿子 Bev 也跟他的前雇主说要借钱来创业。好，不过这边后面的结果当然是很令人难过的，因为呢，Willie 他跟这个老板碰面的结果却是 results in him getting fired。 好，我们知道 result in 是造成什么结果，但是这个后面这个结果他写到了 him， 再写一个 getting fired， 我们也知道这个结果其实他没有用句子的方式来表达，他用了这个受格的 him 当受词，但是后面还要再补充说明怎么样他被 fire 就是被解雇了。所以这个故事当然看到这里就知道它是一个悲剧，而 Bev 他的儿子其实也没有得到他上司的同意，所以呢，接下来就是告诉大家最后的结局是 Willie 为了要想办法让他的家庭经济问题获得解决，他竟然走上最悲哀的路，也就是选择撞毁自己的车自杀了。好，我们今天的节目就到这边结束，谢谢大家的聆听。
That's it, guys. That's day 1 of our literature unit. We're focusing this time on Death of a Salesman and Arthur Miller. We hope you'll come back for our next program. We're going to be talking about Arthur Miller and his background, his life story. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
He had a lot of exciting things happen to him. But now we're out of time, so we're going to sign off. Thanks for joining us and come back soon. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Mike.
See you later.